I have a bunch of teams here, and the question being asked is actually what questions got answered. So I feel like this was the week where we really got separated from the contenders, the pretenders, the teams that are going to win their divisions, the teams that aren't going to win their divisions. So let's dive right into that. I'll start talking, and then hopefully Casino will come back and jump in to these discussions. But first up, let's talk about the maybe the most shocking game of the week, just in terms of what the score was, what the winning team was, all that kind of stuff. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now 8-6, won 40-17 against the Los Angeles Chargers, 8-6. So the questions that was in this game was, are the Chargers contenders? Are the Buccaneers the leading choice to win the NFC South? And I think the Buccaneers will win the NFC South, especially from what we saw on Monday night with the Falcons and just how awful Kirk Cousins has been for the last, 2 months at this point. Like, he started the season just red hot, and everybody was like, in us included, we're like, oh, the Falcons found their quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Like, enjoy the bench Michael Penix, because Cousins going to take this team to the moon, to the playoffs, everything, blah, 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 blah. And then we saw just a slow decline where now he is throwing for just 112 yards, I believe, on Monday Night Football. So yeah, but we're talking about the Bucks of the Saints, or the Bucks and the Chargers right now. Buccaneers, if they win out, they win the NFC South, which is crazy considering the Falcons beat this team twice, and yet still the Buccaneers have rallied back and won, I think, their last three. This one being the most impressive, killing the Chargers 40-17. Baker Mayfield threw an interception early and then was damn near perfect the rest of the game. 22 for 27, 288, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Bucky Irving has also just come on as a great running back. And when you watch him run, he runs hard. 15 for 117 in this game, averaging almost 8 yards a carry. Again, almost averaging 8 yards a carry against a Harbaugh run defense is probably the most impressive thing. But the question, Casino, is with this Buccaneers Chargers game, did the Buccaneers solidify themselves as the NFC South division winner?
Definitely. All day. 100%. Yeah, when that puts them up 2 games now, and 2 games.
They win out, they win that division.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. They're too good of a team. I like how Baker and Mike Evans having a hell of a game as well. Him coming back, and it's over. I would not want to play this team in the postseason at all.
Yeah. And then when we look at the AFC on that side of the ball, Casino, we have the Chargers hanging on for dear life in that 7th spot as an 8-6 team, but they're hanging on for dear life with nobody to chase them from behind, because the next closest one would be the Bengals, Dolphins, Colts, which are crazy that both the Bengals and Dolphins are on the bubble to still get into the playoffs. I mean, the Dolphins only have a 7% chance. The Bengals only have a 5% chance, but obviously crazier things have happened. So the Chargers most likely will get into the playoffs, but as Casino has said multiple times, they are the best worst team that isn't going to do anything. And again, when you watch the Chargers play, first off, they didn't have J.K. Dobbins in this game. So Gus Edwards was 8 carries, 23 yards, only average 2.8 yards a carry. So the Buccaneers also, when you look at their run defense, I don't believe they are that bad. Yeah, they are 11th in the league in total rush defense. So they have a good running defense. And again, the Chargers kind of got exposed on defense in the passing game, despite their rushing defense also being 19th in the league. So yeah, their defense got exposed. Their offense got exposed for what most people, us included, have been saying all season, which is you basically have McConkey and then a bunch of guys who, probably would be third, fourth, fifth string on most other teams. So the Chargers really missing offensive playmakers, offensive weapons, both in the running back room and the wide receiver room. And despite that, Herbert, 21 for 33, 195, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. McConkey, the leading receiver with 5 receptions, 58 yards, and a touchdown. He really does seem like him and Johnston seem like the security blankets, but again, they're twos, maybe threes on most really good teams. So for them to be the number one option on this team just shows when the Chargers have to get into a shootout, they can't, which is why I feel like most the season has just been them, trying to run the ball, try to play that Michigan style defense that Harbaugh brought over from college, and it's worked. They're 8-6, but I think that's all it is, because when you look at the top NFC and AFC contenders, they can beat you most of them with running, passing, and they have all the weapons on offense. So, yeah, I think the questions answered in this game were Buccaneers are going to win the NFC South, and Chargers will make the playoffs, but they won't. I think they're going to be one and done. Next up, let's talk about the Texans game, which if I could find it right now, yeah, the Texans go to 9-5 and win 20-12 against the Miami Dolphins casino. What questions, if any, did this game answer for you? For
Zero. It's still the same exact Texans as old. What it tells me, Tua, Tyreek, great, but outside of that, Dolphins suck. And then for the Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, he's a good quarterback, but I mean, did they just lose their magic? Is this team still the same team from last year, but just without the magic, without the oomph that everybody had?
Yeah, they are weirdly similar to the Chargers, which is they're a team we know are going to be in the playoffs, and then they're a team when they're in the playoffs, you're not going to pick any other team against them, right? Unless the Texans and Chargers end up playing, and then it's you throw your hands up and go, I don't know. But you're not going to pick the Texans against any other AFC team. Probably, I don't know if I would pick them against the Broncos at this point. They just seem so they're winning, but the wins aren't impressive, and they don't have the pedigree to win like that, like the Chiefs do, where you at least have to give them the benefit of the doubt. So, also, yeah, CJ Stroud he hasn't been having the season we thought he would. Maybe it is the sophomore slump that is true, and he'll just bounce back next year. But yeah, weird season for the Texans. And then
Yeah,
obviously,
last year they had the tingles. This year, I don't know.
yeah, I
I
can't
was
even
trying to
think
Yeah, I
the
was trying to think of something fun
what
that rhymed with tingles.
and then for the Dolphins, they just got hot too late and then kind of cooled off too soon. That's, I feel like, the best way to put it. They
Miami
just,
weather.
yeah, it's just, and then Tua, I mean, you can make a declaration that Tua is a top 5 quarterback one week and a bottom 5 quarterback the next. Like, just the hot and coldness he has is much like his record in the hot and cold, just not good. Um,
He dove forward again in this game. I thought he was about to get another concussion.
oh God, yeah, and well, that's the also thing is he's always the injury threat, the injury worry is
Well, he
always in
does
the
it to
back of your head.
himself every single time.
Well, yeah,
You're
that's
diving
the weird
forward.
part.
Don't dive head first.
We briefly mentioned it in the last segment, Casino. So the Rams win an ugly game, 12-6 on Thursday night. With the Rams, obviously the 49ers, we both have said they've been dead for weeks now and out of the playoff picture. But for the Rams, are they now officially the NFC West division winner?
Yeah, I don't have any faith in the Seahawks there. So I think the Rams are gonna take this. And I like the Cardinals, but the Rams are a better team.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are feisty. The Seahawks, again, Geno Smith is so inconsistent, and now he got knocked out of that game Sunday night with an injury. So now,
Yeah.
if he's also dealing with a lingering injury, Rams got healthy at the right time. They might have the best win of the season beating the Bills the way
And
they
again,
did.
they might have the best receiver in
Yeah, Puka
with Puka
Nacua.
Nacua.
Yeah, and then they have a
My daughter
young
just got excited.
defense. Rams have a young defense. They might have the defensive rookie of the year in verse as well. So young defense, young offense, Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Again, Rams are going to be dangerous if they get into the playoffs, which right now they're first in the NFC West at 8-6. Last team casino, I had a question of or what questions got answered was the Denver Broncos winning 9-5, or they're now 9-5 after winning against the Colts, scoring 21 points in the fourth quarter. What questions were answered about the Broncos?
Oh man, honestly, I don't know. They are 9-5. Like that's kind of where I have them. I don't have much to say. Bo Nix is good. He can throw. Yeah, he threw 3 interceptions, but I don't know. They're a good team. They are a playoff caliber team, but I don't think they're anything after that. I think they're right there in that same boat as the Texans, as the Chargers. Like they're going to get in the playoffs, but I would not be worried about this team.
So the Broncos, I think the question that got answered is the Broncos defense is really good. This game was what 13-10
I
for
mean,
most of the
r-
game until the fourth quarter.
right? That's true. Their defense is good, but also Anthony Richardson, he
Is
doesn't.
bad.
Yeah, he's bad. So he threw 2 more interceptions, this game. He did have a rushing touchdown, but he's not he's not an elite quarterback. He's not even a good quarterback, and
I don't even think he's a starter in this league. I
I
mean,
would agree. I
he
honestly would agree. At this point, I'm so off the Anthony Richardson, like, hype train of trying to say he is a starting quarterback. He's not. And, yes, the Broncos defense picked him twice, but I don't think that's saying much.
yeah. Well, what I wanted to say about the Broncos defense was they have allowed the least amount of touchdowns of any team in the NFL. They've only allowed 24 offensive touchdowns. So I feel like when you're a bend don't break
That's fair.
defense that stops people from scoring, you
I
can
mean,
go
it worked
deep
for
in the
years for
playoffs.
Belichick.
Yeah, and that was also the defense that the Eagles got both to the Super Bowl, even though their defense was questionable. Obviously, they won one, lost one with that kind of bend don't break defense, but they're the eighth total defense in the league right now. But again, this is what happens with rookie quarterbacks, right? They have good games and then they have bad stretches where you throw 3 interceptions. So I still think Bo Nix is good, but if anything, the question got answered is Bo Nix doesn't have to be perfect for this Broncos team to win games
That's a
with their
good point.
defense.